What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. In this one, we're taking a look at some of the popular transfers ahead of Game Week 25, starting off with Marcus Rashford. And I have to be honest, it does seem kind of crazy to even consider selling him given the form that he's in, but it hasn't stopped nearly 200,000 FPL managers already doing that this week. Now, what I would say in general around blank and double game weeks, especially with the run we're about to go on, so you've got a blank and a double this week, you've got a double in 27, a blank in 28, and a double in 29, is just remain open-minded to the possibility that any player could be sold at any moment if needed, including Marcus Rashford. Now, for the large majority of people watching this video, and I include myself in this, you don't need to sell him this week. You're just going to put him on the bench, you're still going to have 11 players, and you're just going to play him in 26 and 27, then decide what to do with him afterwards. But for a tiny percentage of you, it may well be worth selling, or at least you might be in a position where you're considering it. Now, I did come up with this scenario. Forget what money I've got in the bank. This is just a hypothetical situation. Let's say this is your team. I know you wouldn't be as stupid as me to have Edison, but let's just roll with it for a second. And you've only got two Arsenal players. And Arsenal have got a double this week, two good single game week fixtures in 26-27 and a fixture in 28. So therefore you want to get Saka in because you don't have the money to go Greenwood to Nketiah. So Saka is the one. Now, first move is probably De Bruyne to Salah. Like, we can discuss that in another video, but I just feel like that's a no-brainer. And then you've got a choice to get Saka in. You've either got to sell Mitoma or Rashford. Now, for me, Saka is kind of non-negotiable. I'd really want him for this double. And obviously, usually you would keep Rashford and sell Mitoma, but Mitoma's got a double in 27. And I know some people will be sitting there saying, yeah, but the double game weeks are overrated. I'd rather have Rashford in a single game week. But as we've seen with Liverpool players, who 2 weeks ago nobody wanted, and now everyone's getting them in, opinions change the closer you get to a double. So if I had to sell, and obviously most people are not going to be in this situation, you can of course look for alternative ways to get Saka in. But if I had to sell one of these two players, I would probably sell Rashford. Not guaranteeing that, but that is probably what I would do to bring Saka in and then have Mitoma for the double, who also has West Ham at home in Game Week 26. Would I like to sell Marcus Rashford? Absolutely not. I would rather have him for 26 or 27, but that might be the kind of team where it's worth doing. My actual team looks more like this. So I've got the five-man midfield, so I don't need to sell Odegaard, Saka, Salah or Rashford because I can just bench him this week. And Fernandes will be my way to a Brighton midfielder. Now, if we got to Game Week 27 and I didn't want to use any chips in 27 or 28 and the Liverpool versus Fulham game was on in Game Week 28 as well, then I wouldn't want to sell Odegaard, Saka or Salah. So if I wanted a second Brighton player just for the double in 27, Rashford would probably be the one I would have to sell. And I'm not going to discuss that too much right now. There's loads of things that might change that. But that is something I'm open to doing if needed. Obviously, the chances are I just keep hold of Rashford because he's in great form. If we look at the actual fixtures, I don't think there's too much to worry about with Southampton at home or Liverpool away. I said yesterday I do rate the Liverpool attack, but not the defence so much. So Rashford could definitely get something there. But what if he did blank in one of those games? Let's say he blanks against Liverpool, gets a 15-pointer against Southampton. Well, he's almost certainly going to have no fixture in Game Week 28, so that would be 17 points over 4 game weeks. Is there no players you could get in instead of Rashford to get you more than 17 points? There probably is, but again, there's different ways around it where you could bench him and get a different player in instead for those couple of games where he's going to blank. So for those people who've sold him, I don't want to sit here and say it's a bad move, but I think for most people you should probably try and avoid selling him because he could do damage against Liverpool and Southampton the way he's playing right now. There's no real captaincy, I would say, involved in any of the next 4 game weeks because you've got the blank in 25, that fixture in Game Week 28. The only way it can be on is if Man United and Brighton both get knocked out of the FA Cup. That looks very unlikely, so that won't be on either, that match. Game Week 27 is the double, and again, I know it's easy to say I'd rather captain Rashford with the form he's in against Southampton at home rather than a Brighton player or Tony for Brentford. Most people, when they get to 27, they want to captain a double game weeker, and yes, he could get returns against Liverpool, but he's probably not going to be the best captain in 26 because you've got Haaland against Newcastle at home, who have also stopped keeping as many clean sheets recently. So I don't think Rashford's a captaincy factor for the next 4 game weeks. But like I said, for most people, I would look to keep him. So I'm not saying he's a bad transfer out, because I'm open-minded enough to know there are scenarios where he may be your best route to get in an extra Liverpool player or an extra Arsenal player or something like that. But for most people, I would try and avoid doing it. He's too good value. And depending on how fixtures fall and how you end up using the chips, you might not want to lose that value on him either, because Man United will almost certainly double in 29. And if that happens, you're going to want Rashford. So there's a lot to like about James Tarkowski at just 4.3 million. I know we've only seen 3 games for Everton under Sean Dyche so far, so it is a small sample, but they do seem to have improved defensively. He looks absolutely nailed as one of the centre-backs, and he does have a bit of goal threat as well. Now again, this could just be a small sample, but he scored against Arsenal, he hit the post against Liverpool, and when I watched the game against Leeds, they were targeting him quite a lot from set pieces, and they don't have a huge amount of firepower up front, so set pieces are going to be key to get those goals they need to stay up. And to be honest, I don't really think they're going to be in much of a relegation fight with the way that Sean Dyche has set them up. So you've got that midfield 3 of Idrissa Gueye, Doucouré and Onana, obviously Iwobi on the right as well. There's just quite a bit of protection for that back 4. I don't think they're going to suddenly get loads of clean sheets between now and the end of the season, but in the easier games there's always a chance. So game week 25, very difficult to go to Arsenal away and get a clean sheet, but there is a chance against Villa, there's a chance against Forest, possible chance against Brentford, that's probably a little bit tougher. And in game week 28, I wouldn't say there's much chance of a clean sheet at all, but that is a blank game week. So to have a player that you know is going to go and get you 1 or 2 points that most weeks you can just put on the bench anyway for 4.3, he just looks like an all-round great option. If you're looking at other defenders to bring in this week around the same price, the 2 that most people seem to be considering are someone like Kilman at Wolves or Gomez at Liverpool. And in both both comparisons, I just prefer going for the Everton player instead. So if we just come, I've already got him by the way, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but they definitely play in 28, they definitely play in 32. And as I've said numerous times now, this game in 32 may not matter. It's a long way away. We may have played chips by that point, but it's worth keeping your options open. And yes, they've got difficult fixtures 28, 29 or 30, but in the games where all teams have got a fixture, you can just bench them anyway, especially when they only cost 4.3. With the Wolves, let's just start with Gomez because I'm already on Liverpool. Look, if he's absolutely nailed for his price of also 4.3, then that is great. They've got a decent double game week. It's going to be difficult to get a clean sheet against Man United, but Bournemouth away is okay. Fulham at home is possibly alright as well. But I don't think there's anyone that can guarantee me that he is still playing by the time we get to this point. And he might not even start both games in the double. And when I tweeted about this this morning, a lot of people said Matip's just been rubbish, so Gomez will continue to play. But no one really knows that for sure. And there's every chance that Matip could start one of the next 3. And I'm including the Champions League in that. So you've got Champions League, 2 games in the double game week. Are we absolutely certain that Gomez is going to play all 3? I'm just not sure if I would be. And it's not even that's the problem. What happens when Konate is back? Then Gomez is going to be an issue. So again, it might be that you end up wildcarding in game week 27 either. So to have Gomez for the double and hope he plays twice, and then to bench him against Man United, or even play him if you wanted to, is not necessarily the end of the world. But it's not like he offers much goal threat either. And if that Liverpool game was on in game week 28, so let's say Fulham lose in the FA Cup and it ends up being on, you might want a different triple up for Liverpool. I know right now that might not seem like the case, but in a blank game week when Liverpool have got Fulham at home, maybe you want to go for a more nailed triple up. Robertson, Trent, one of the attackers, whichever one seems to be playing the most, plus Salah, that could be an option. So I don't really like Gomez. I think if I was buying one this week, I would rather go for Tarkowski, who also has a double. And then when you look at the Wolves defenders, I think Kilman looks okay this week, but it is 2 away games. We don't know if Mitrovic is going to be back for this game. If he is, then maybe it's a little bit tougher to keep the clean sheet. I don't see Wolves getting another clean sheet away to Liverpool either. Then it's Spurs, that's difficult. Then it's Newcastle away, that's difficult. The game in 28 is not necessarily on. They've also got to play one of the traditional top 6 sides around game week 30. So I just don't know. Like, if you've got Kilman and you bought him in because the fixtures in 23 and 24 were good and you wanted a double game weeker, I'm not saying that was a bad choice, but if we're talking about bringing in a defender for this price this week, I don't think there's too many better options than Tarkowski. So you've got the goal threat. He seems to be nailed. They look a little bit better under Sean Dyche, although I wouldn't be expecting clean sheets every single week. And when the fixtures are tougher, you can just bench him anyway. So yeah, if you're wondering whether or not to get him, I can't really see too many reasons to look elsewhere. 231,000 transfers out for Trippier already this week. I don't think most of us would have imagined that 4 to 5 game weeks ago. It would have seemed crazy, a little bit like Rashford, to even consider letting go of him. But ultimately, he hasn't got a fixture in 25, and the fixture in 26 is about as difficult as it's going to get, Man City away. So a lot of us will probably consider benching him that week. So do you need him for the next 2 weeks? Not necessarily. And again, it all comes down to certain situations. So some of you might want to get a Liverpool defender in, like Trent Alexander-Arnold or Andrew Robertson, and to do that you're either going to need a lot of money in the bank or you're going to have to sell one of your more expensive defenders. So do I think it's crazy to go from Trippier to Trent this week? No, absolutely not. Trent's got a double game week, then he's got Man United at home, then he's got Bournemouth away. He is just a better option for the next 3 weeks than Trippier. Now for my own team, again, I am in a situation where I don't have Brighton players, I don't have Brentford players, I've already dealt with Luke Shaw and I'm going to sell Fernandes. So the only 2 players from the teams that are blanking that I have are Trippier and Rashford, and I'm going to hold on to Trippier even though I'm probably going to bench him in game week 26 because I'm still undecided about what I want to do with my chips. Now depending on how the fixtures fall, I might not have to use wildcard or free hit for game week 27 or 28, and if that's the case, I'd love to have Trippier for Wolves at home and then Nottingham Forest away, because while some teams are going to blank in game week 28, Newcastle and Nottingham Forest are not one of them, and in game week 29 Newcastle will probably double, so it'll be Man United at home and then one of their fixtures that they haven't rearranged yet, which is West Ham. You can't see it there, but it's West Ham away or Brighton at home, so that's a pretty decent double where I'd probably want Trippier for, maybe even a second Newcastle defender depending on how things are set up. And although I don't have as much value built up in him as other people, I still don't necessarily want to lose that when I don't have to. So it's one of those tricky ones where I can't sit here and say yes, it's absolutely stupid to get rid of him, or yes, you should absolutely keep him, because it's going to be very team dependent. I just think, like Rashford, I would do my best to not have to sell him unless I absolutely had to. But ultimately, while 10 game weeks ago, if I told you benching Trippier against Man City away was a good idea, you would have probably said I was crazy. I don't think that's the case right now. And for my team, I'm probably going to play Gabriel, who has got Bournemouth at home, so he's definitely playing. I'm going to have Trent Alexander-Arnold against Man United at home, so I think he is better than Trippier away. And then I've got Mings against Crystal Palace at home, and while he doesn't have a huge amount of attacking threat like Trippier does, he's got more chance of a clean sheet. So it's very likely that I will bench Trippier in game week 26. So 231,000 FPL managers have gotten rid of him. It's not crazy, but just try and keep your options open if you can, because he could be really decent for you in 27 and 28. Ollie Watkins proving popular this week. He's actually scored 5 goals since the World Cup. 4 of them have come in the last 4 matches, so he's very much in form as well. And I think when you buy Aston Villa players, you're kind of keeping your options open as to what you might do with your chips moving forward. So they don't have a double game week this week, but they do have a match against Everton away. Now, don't get me wrong, as a Tarkowski owner, I'm hopeful that's the match he gets the clean sheet in, but I'm not exactly confident. It definitely is more hope, so that's not too bad. Crystal Palace at home is okay. West Ham away would usually be pretty tricky. And to be fair, their defensive numbers in terms of expected goals conceded this season aren't actually that bad, but they're not playing that well, and pressure is starting to mount because obviously they are in a bit of a relegation battle. And then they've got a guaranteed fixture in 28 against Bournemouth at home, and if you had to hold him longer, you've got Nottingham Forest at home in game week 30 as well. So I think he looks pretty good, especially if you're maybe sick of Mitrovic and you just want to get rid of him because you're not sure if he's going to play. I guess the question is there a better forward to bring in and around that price this week for kind of game week 25? So the obvious ones to look at are those with a double game week. There's no one I would go with really from Wolves or Everton. So you're looking at Darwin Núñez or Nketiah. Now Darwin Núñez is a bit more expensive, but you could look at him. I guess the only issue is how long will he remain an option with good minutes. I think he is first choice when he's fit, so he should get 120, 130 minutes over the double. But will he start all of Man United at home and Bournemouth away? Will the game week 28 fixture be on? They're all things to consider. Now, for me, I'm still looking at bringing Darwin Núñez in, but he'll probably be a placeholder for Tony later on. You might be in a different situation. If you're on a 3-4-3, it might be easy just to get Watkins and then decide how to get Tony later on. But Darwin Núñez is someone to consider. If you haven't got triple Arsenal and you can move to Nketiah, he's still not a bad option. But obviously, the longer you leave it to make that move, the closer it will be to Gabriel Jesus returning. And most of you have probably got triple Arsenal. Outside of that, I don't think there's a huge amount of players to look to bring in. Like, I wouldn't go for a West Ham forward. They've got Ings, they've got Antonio, Scamacca could be back soon. I don't mind Iheanacho, but I don't think he's a better option than Ollie Watkins because of the fixtures they've got, because they play in blank game week 28 as well. And look, Ollie Watkins' underlying numbers, like his expected goals, expected assists, are nothing exciting, but he does play a lot of minutes every single match, so he has got that benefit. Leeds forwards, probably not. Mitrovic, obviously, definitely not. The only other one is João Felix, actually. He's someone I shouldn't forget, because he's in a similar situation to Watkins, that he plays this week and he plays in 28 as well. And you could say that 26 and 27 are better fixtures, Leeds at home and Leicester away, but Spurs away is not necessarily easier. I think it's difficult with Spurs because they just shipped 4 to Leicester and you're thinking, well, that's a bad defence. But in their last game they did a bit better, but that was West Ham. Will Chelsea cause them more problems? Probably. I don't think João Felix is a bad option whatsoever. I guess it's all a timing thing. Like, if I was buying Watkins or João Felix in game week 24, I probably would have gone for João Felix. But now you're buying a player with Spurs away this week, it just doesn't look quite as good. But he's definitely someone you could consider instead. So overall, I like Ollie Watkins as an option. If you don't fancy him, you want to spend around that money and not go for a double game week, as João Felix is the only other one I can consider. But I think Villa are doing pretty well in attack, and Watkins is always starting. He's always getting decent minutes. His numbers are looking good. He's in form. I think he's a pretty good option. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll catch you again tomorrow.